food stamps for her is so this young lady.
The caption said food stamps ending because of food stamp scammers and EBT card complainers. $500 worth of food stamps per month for myself and my 1-year-old is not enough.
So this young lady is going viral because she was complaining to her mother that she had to pay $50 out of pocket because she went over her $500 allotment of food stamps for her and her 1 year old child. So she was complaining to her mom saying that she needs at least $1,000. At least. Now, listen, I have no problem, even as a tax-paying citizen, supporting mothers and people that need help who are suffering food shortages. I have no problem. But, ma'am, this is not the video to make, especially at this time in our country. Food stamps ending is a possibility because of food stamp scammers and food stamp complainers like this. This is not a good look, and she should take the video down, but I don't think she can now because it's gone viral. And I just want to say this to anybody that gets food stamps and is doing well and you can get your life back on track because you have the help that you need, great. Just keep it to yourself. Do not complain, because when you complain and everybody else is having to pay full tilt for their groceries, they're going to look at you strange and they're not going to be on your side when it comes time to vote. So this young lady.
Well, I ain't gonna tell you no lie. Me and my wife been together a long time, very long time.
His caption says gas high, groceries high, no food stamps, no Medicaid.
Long time, very long time, almost 25 years. And when we was younger, we was just like everybody else, catching the bus, trying to get housing, on food stamps. We was young. We was young, man. 22 and 18. Trying to raise two children that we had back to back. And when I tell you, back then I didn't appreciate the food stamps, the Medicaid, and all that shit the way I should have, not knowing a few years later our financial circumstance will change. And we won't be eligible for none of that shit no more. Now that our finances have changed, and I don't get stamps no more. I don't receive Medicaid for my son. We got healthy kids. Boy, I'll do damn near anything for some stamps right now.
Well, I think that's what the brother in the first clip was saying. Do we need to address that? I think we definitely need to address that. She said she was a single mother with one child and $500 a month in food stamps was not enough. And she didn't need a minor boost to just take care of her and her one child, two of them. She needed double an increase, according to her, in order for them to be able to get by. And I think that's just egregious. And I think that's ungrateful. And I think if we looked at the type of things that she gets in her cart, it would have been name brand things. It would have been things that she doesn't need. It would have been things that she was definitely overpaying on. And we would have seen that she's just grabbing anything that they want, as opposed to actually making some concessions and maybe even getting some of the things that they want, but then also being a little bit more fiscally responsible. But what we find is that typically people are not fiscally responsible for things that they don't work for. And I would even argue that a lot of people today aren't even fiscally responsible with things that they do work for. And that's a lot of times how they end up in those situations anyway. People aren't even fiscally responsible. I'm not going to say that. But people just aren't responsible ultimately. And there's no visibility. It's just doing whatever you want and then complaining and saying that you don't have enough of what you have, what you need. No, you're just not resourceful with what you have, and you're not a good steward of what you have. And that's why you find yourself in a situation where you definitely have more than enough, especially when we consider the fact that this is meant to be supplemental. You definitely have more than enough than you need. You're just not resourceful with it, and you're not allocating it accordingly. Y'all, before we get back into it, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second, and it actually helps out more than you know. And it's only a click. It's only a click. So if you're here anyway, you might as well click that like button. And also, if you could hype.
Now that our finances have changed, and I don't get stamps no more. I don't receive Medicaid for my son. We got healthy kids. Boy, I'll do damn near anything for some stamps right now.
Hmm.
I try and buy as much as I can, whoever want to sell them. But when I don't get no stamps that month from nobody that's selling none, and I got to go to the store with $200-300 counting shit, this $350, this $450, okay, this $7. Boy, with $200-300, you got to count. You got to motherfucking count. I'm so goddamn tired of counting when I go to these goddamn grocery stores. I would do anything to get some stamps again. But it's kind of fucked up that if you make over a certain amount, you don't even qualify for them motherfuckers. But if you sit on your ass and do absolutely nothing, they'll give you the checks, the stamps, and everything. And that's what I can't get jiggy with. That's why I'm in favor for cutting all that shit off. Fuck stamps, fuck Medicaid, fuck all that shit. They won't give me none, and I can fucking use it sometimes. Rent going up, groceries high as hell, gas high as hell. Everybody can use a little assistance. I ain't rich.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Man, shit, man, this shit crazy out here, man. Look, I'm looking on the floor, looking at my little few bags I got for $326. This ain't shit. What would I do for some motherfucking stamps right now? Boy, have times changed. Now, I know that's kind of fucked up to say, because there's a lot of people out there that really, really need it. But it's also fucked up that
No, it's not. It is some people that really, really need it. But you just said that you buy food stamps from people. You buy food stamps from people. So you absolutely have a direct indication of how egregious this stuff is. And here's what I mean. If you're buying food stamps from people, then that means that you're buying it for cents on the dollar. At the very least, 50 cents on the dollar. So that's how you know they don't need it. And so the woman with one kid saying $500 ain't enough. Yeah, okay. That's absolutely not true. You're just not making sure that you budget it effectively. But there's other people out here budgeting it effectively, as we see. And it's been going on since the beginning of time that they've been selling their food stamps, which is an indication that they have more than what they need, because you wouldn't sell your food stamps if you're starving. So most people ain't starving. But like he said, when you have a certain income coming in, then you no longer qualify. So they don't have much other discretionary income to be able to spend in other ways. And so that is why they convert it and get a little savvy with their food stamps. But it's not right. And that definitely shows that there is a large portion of people who don't actually need it and who are actually just leveraging it. But what they're ultimately leveraging is, like he said, they're able to be lazy. It's worth it to them because they get their free time back. That's the biggest advantage and the biggest reward of it all. They get to keep their free time. They don't have to work that hard, and they ultimately just get to be lazy and get to have things taken care of them. And typically that's not going to get better if that's the way that they're living habitually. If their habits are like that, it's not going to get better. They're only going to get more comfortable in it. And so it's only going to get harder to ultimately get up off the A and then get back to being productive. And that's what we see in mass.
times change. Now, I know that's kind of fucked up to say, because there's a lot of people out there that really, really need it. But it's also fucked up that they think cause you got a few extra dollars on your pay, but at the same time, shit done went up $10, $20. That shit ain't evening out. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean to sound nasty and shit. You know what I'm saying? But goddamn, help everybody out sometimes. But just give everybody up.
Well, why do you think it's going up? It's going up because it's subsidized. And it's becoming so subsidized that the corporations feel like they would be crazy not to raise the prices and capitalize off that subsidization. And so when you have such mass subsidization in the economy in certain verticals and certain sectors, then yeah, things are going to go up on top of inflation.
Voucher for some gas or some food or something. Well, this shit hard out here, boy. And for y'all rich motherfuckers that got everything, that's ain't got to worry about counting and all that shit, I salute you. I ain't at that stage yet.
Hmm.
When I take $200-300 to the grocery store, bitch, I gotta count to make sure I spend them $300 efficiently.
Hmm.
So this ain't y'all part of the story, all you big money motherfuckers that ain't gotta worry about that. I'm talking about us poor folks. You know what I'm saying? Real, man, this shit hard, dog. I believe everybody, goddamn it, entitled to a little something. If goddamn it, the economy keep going up, everything keep going up, and a bitch ain't got no raise in a couple years, man. Fuck that. Y'all help everybody out a little bit. Why a bitch got to sit on their ass just to get something? That don't make sense. So fuck it. Cut it all off and make everybody work.
Yeah, and see, this is the difference in mindsets, how I will be approaching it. Because he addressed the people who are well off, irregardless of what he calls a collapsing economy in so many words. He's saying, y'all stay out of this. Don't even talk about this. Hey, we get it. Y'all well off. But I wish I was getting some stamps too. That could really help. When your mindset should be, no, I wish I was well off. But you just disregarded that entire segment of people and basically brushed it off. And you just, what it seemed like is what he brushed it off to just say, y'all are just privileged. But no, there's a certain way that a lot of people who have their stuff together are living. And there are certain things that they're doing in order to get those outcomes, in order to get those results. So why not focus on that and focus on getting to that point in your life and not having limited beliefs on yourself? But instead, he's actually focused on regressing. He said that him and his wife used to get food stamps when they were like 18 and 20. And now he's come above that. And his first mindset isn't to ascend even higher than where he is. His first mindset is to try to go regress back to get some free stuff that's really going to cripple him and then cap him to where he can only get back to where he is now. No. Why not be focusing on how can I evolve even past where I am currently? And that's where a lot of people get stuck. And that's not where you want to be. Because clearly there's people out here doing it. There's clearly people out here who have come from your situation, who have had to build themselves up from ground zero and ultimately somehow find success. And so why not focus more on how do I get on that side? Because it's definitely possible. But if you don't believe that it's possible and you want to continue focusing and spending your faculties on poverty thinking, then it's no wonder why you can't escape from your current circumstance. At the very least, if you aim for the moon, you'll hit some stars, but you're trying to regress and aim back lower than when you were 18. And that's the problem with a lot of people's mentality. And really, like I said, it just comes back down to limiting beliefs. So he's got to work on that.
At midnight to get some midnight snacks. I drive on over to Walmart because
Or
you can get everything you need at Walmart, right? I get to the register. I'm feeling jolly as a fuck because I know when I get home, I'm finna get that shit. I pay my money. I leave. By this time, it's about 12:30, 1 o'clock. It was a boy in front of me. He ain't have all the money. I think he was like 40 cents short, and the man wouldn't even let him go. That was a red flag. That was a red flag. I go over to Walmart. I've been in Walmart for about 45 minutes. I'm getting every ingredient I need for a seafood boil. I'm putting it all in the basket. Just everything I can think of, I'm putting it in the basket. I really didn't understand that, but okay, whatever. I get my shit $23 worth of snacks, and you know when you use EBT, they can't really charge certain stuff, so it knocked my total down to like $21 and like some change. Okay. One thing about me, I be ignoring the fuck out of red flags, and then be looking stupid as fuck when shit hit the fan. So I go to John Harden Express.
Let's address that real quick. That's some pretty good self awareness because I think that's what we see a lot of people in these situations. She said, one thing about me, I ignore the F out of red flags and then be looking silly after the fact, ultimately. Yeah, that's what a lot of what we see in these situations, a lot of the women that we see in these situations, that's the mentality they also have with choosing a mate, choosing a person to have their kids, and then they're single. And so they have no way to be able to take care of themselves and they end up on government assistance, all because they're ignoring red flags and then looking silly after the fact for the decisions and choices that they make. You see some of these situations and you're like, why did you get pregnant by X and Y and Z? Anybody with two eyes and a brain could see that that wasn't going to go anywhere because he's broke. And because the only reason he was with you was so he could live up on your benefits with you. And so why did you ignore that red flag? And then decide that this was the person that you wanted to start a legacy with.
I go to John Harden Express, whatever kind of bullshit ass name they done gave it. I do all this vlogging. I go to Edwards. They ain't even have everything I need. So, you know what? I done vlog for no reason, but it's content. So, I'm going to put this shit back and I'm going to leave. 12:30, 1 o'clock. Who the fuck finna be up just fiddling around with their food stamp card? I know that when Wednesday hit, when Wednesday morning hit, I'm going to get me the ingredients to make me a seafood bowl. I get ready to swipe my card. That bitch said 0. Keep in mind, when I went to the gas station to get the snacks at midnight, I had over $500 on that motherfucker after I left that motherfucker. So I get to the register. I put all the stuff up there. I'm putting it up there. I'm happy because I ain't got stamps in so long. I'm excited. I'm like, who? Not the fuck me. Shit, I checked my motherfucking Propel app because I know y'all got me fucked up. I'm not finna be up in the store putting all this shit in this.
I just have to address it. I keep thinking it. I keep thinking it, and I'm trying to keep it together because I actually try not to say personal things typically, but I just thought about it. I'm going to be honest. Her hair reminds me of an upside down bird's nest. I keep looking at it, I keep focusing on it. It reminds me if you just take a bird's nest out of a tree and just put it upside down on your head. That's what her hair reminds me of. Let's get back into it.
Motherfucking basket, and then you talking about 0. So now this can't be right. This can't. Putting all this shit in this motherfucking basket, and then you talking about 0. So now this can't be right. This can't.
Why does it keep freezing? Oh, that was her.
Oh, I checked my Propel app. That motherfucker said 0.00. Oh, no. Gee, I didn't need no motherfucking investigator to tell me where the fuck my money went. You know what the fuck I did? Looked on there, seen how they done got all these different transactions. In a moment of disbelief, because ain't no way in the fuck I just got my stamps and you talking about $0. Oh, hell no. Hell no. I put all the fucking shit up there. She ring it up and it come out to $118. Now I done already told her to take back 2 things off because it was unnecessary. And I wanted to go to Kroger's where I could use my coupons because you can save a lot at Kroger's. So I took like 2 things off, set it at the back, like at the end of at the little belt that you put the groceries on, because I know I was gonna put it back. Ring me up $118. So I'm like, I got this because I know how much money I 70 here, 70 here, 40 here, 20 here. Y'all got me fucked up. And then when I'm looking at it, oh hell, I goes back to the store. Chime in for part 2 because I'm on ass and I'm not done. I go back to the motherfucking gas station. where I bought the midnight snacks because as long as I've been getting food stamps, ain't no way in the fuck I've been a victim of no motherfucking food stamp fraud. Food stamp fraud is where a motherfucker know you get the deposit on whatever day, and as soon as you wake up in the morning, that motherfucker gone. It ain't no such thing as going to get no motherfucking midnight snacks. So, bitch, you done fucked up and fucked with the wrong motherfucker food stamps, bitch. When I say piss the fuck off, because no motherfucker finna come over with no goddamn gourmet.
Dang, man. Goodness gracious. She is fluent in just swearing like a sailor. Every word, every other word is accompanied with a swear, a cuss word. This is just how you communicate. Why? Why do you communicate like this? Ultimately, how do you turn this off? How do you turn this off when you're so fluent in it? How? You're going to have a slip up. Imagine she tried to go to a job interview. It's going to slip out because this is how you talk regularly. But let's be real. She probably doesn't want to get a job. She probably doesn't have no intentions of that.
When I say piss the fuck off, because no motherfucker finna come over with no goddamn gourmet meal. The fuck you mean? So, shit, Miss Make It Happen is excited for them stems. How the fuck y'all be acting like y'all too good to get stems, but be quick to ask somebody who's selling some? Bitch, these ain't for sale. We trying to eat these. Once you look, you can tell a motherfucker not missing a meal. How y'all gonna clear me for my stems and then think I'm not gonna press that issue, bitch? You got me fucking at midnight to get.
So I address the women as far as saying they make bad decisions. Some of these people we see in these circumstances. But what about the fellas too? Because how do you come across a woman like this and
now ain't
this is the way that she talks fluently, and you decide that this is who you want to impart your legacy within for her to be able to conceive it without? That's also what we got to address. Because some of you guys, your decision making is cooked. Your discernment is cooked. Some of the decisions you make as far as who you choose to be reckless with. Because this is what you're going to have to hear on the other end of the line for the rest of your life. Talking to you like this. Whenever you try to address anything that may be going on with your child. And don't let you get out of order. Because then she'll really give it to you. Because she's not even mad right now. And that's how she's swearing. Imagine if she gets mad.
and now ain't no food stamps. Y'all gonna have to hunt raccoons and shit for Thanksgiving and eat beans and shit.
Or, hear me out, why don't you cut them some checks? Give them some money. These struggling families, you're worth 80 million. Give them some money. No?
And now?
Why don't you give them some money? She want to talk about you're worth 80 million. Okay, well, you got opinions. So why don't you give them some money? How about that? How about you cut them some checks? People always trying to tell other people what they need to do with their money. How about you stop being lazy and you get successful so that you can give them some checks? How about you actually go and learn a skill, a high income skill, so you can cut them some checks? You want her to just cut some checks, but you ain't even willing to work to make yourself successful so that you can cut some checks. Trying to tell somebody else what they got to go cut. You got an opinion too, just like she got an opinion. So why don't you cut some checks? Why don't you put your money where your mouth is and you actually go work hard? How about you go work 3 jobs so that you can live off one income and then the other 2 incomes you can go cut some checks? I can't stand people like that. Always trying to go straight to just give some money. Give some free money. Do this, do that. Man, please. You don't know what she does. I guarantee in her life, she's probably cut way more checks than you have.
If you or someone you know receives SNAP, pay attention. There are new federal work requirements now in effect, and some New Yorkers could lose benefits if they do not know the rules. These impacts have already affected families across the country and making it more important than ever to understand your rights and your responsibilities. Let's break down what changed and what you need to know. So, there are new federal work requirements in effect for able bodied adults without dependents. I see a spider web in my car. Anywho, federal work requirements now require able bodied adults without dependents to meet an average of 80 hours of a month of participation requirements through work, job, training, education, or approved activities. But if you're already meeting that requirement through community service or volunteer work, specifically New York State has a different calculation. Many advocates across the country who are already tracking these changes, but are saying that people are already losing benefits in food assistance left and right since this new thing has been implemented. But that's why it's really, really important to know whether you or someone you know qualifies for an exemption or has other ways to meet those requirements. Very important.
They give the other ways to meet the requirements. You have a lot of options in order to meet the requirements. You can volunteer. And keep in mind, these are all typically about 20 hours a week. But you can volunteer. You can do a work job training program, a workforce program that basically gets you skills to be ready for a job, which keep in mind, a lot of those type of things can be done online where it'll just monitor your hours and then quiz you to make sure that you actually retain the information, as well as you could just get a job, which a lot of people say people on government assistance already have jobs. Okay, well, then what's the difference? Why are you complaining then? Because we see a lot of people complaining. Oh, it's because you want to have the option to have the job. You want to be able to show your A at the job, knowing that you're incentivized to where if you lose the job, you'll just get more benefits because of it once you go and report that you lost your job. So all that's been added is really just accountability. And I would argue that it's great things because you're somebody in need that we have to volunteer our tax dollars, the collective, to help an individual. So then why don't you want to go and volunteer and help some other individuals in some other different circumstances that could possibly need some assistance as well? That's what we have to wonder. But then people do the equation and they say, well, if I'm working 80 hours a month and I'm getting XYZ in food stamps, well, then this is kind of like I'm working a job anyway. And if I actually do the equation of how much I'd be earning based off the labor hours I'm putting in, I'm getting less than minimum wage. People get real smart all of a sudden and they know how to budget and they know how to do an equation once it comes down to how they have to spend their time and how they have to get off their lazy butts and actually do something consistently that they're actually held accountable and responsible to have to show up for. And that's really the overlying problem. A lot of these people on these benefits, they just don't want to have to do nothing and they don't want to have to be held responsible to nothing. And they want to be able to find creative ways to just be able to survive off these things so that they can get their time back and do whatever the heck they want. And then they typically get bored because they don't have any productive things to do. And so what do? They start having kids. If you ever go to states and cities real deep in countries in the country where they don't have a lot of stuff to do, a lot of times all they do is get busy with each other irresponsibly and have kids, if you didn't know that, in a lot of very country type of cities and states, because there's nothing else to do around there. And so that's how people are on these assistance programs, as well as the fact that don't let it actually be egregious to the point to where they're actually just trying to add more dependence on their side so that they'll actually get more in benefits. You just need to have something going on so that you're not putting more wounds on yourself and sabotaging yourself because of what you think you'll get in the short term, but what's going to be detrimental in the long term for not just you, but for everybody else that has to take care of you as a result.
State did not create the rules, but they are responsible for implementing them and helping eligible New Yorkers stay connected to benefits as best as possible. So, if you or someone you know got a notice, do not throw it away. It is time to open your mail. You may qualify for exemptions because of a disability or health condition. You could be pregnant. You could have you might be caring for a child or a family member. You have some participation in.
Why in the see? Let's go back to this. Listen to this.
You could be pregnant. You could apply for exemptions because of a disability or health condition. You could be pregnant. You could have.
Y'all don't let this go over your head. She's saying if you're already on the program and then you get a letter in the mail because of the new regulations saying that now you have to do XYZ in order to continue to be able to qualify for your benefits. Now you actually have to either volunteer, work this many hours, or do a workforce program, but you're already on the program. You'll get a letter in the mail letting you know that. And she's saying, well, keep in mind for your exemptions, you might have an exemption if you're pregnant. Why are you already on the program and you're pregnant? Is the thing that we can't let go over our head. Why are you already on the program and you're winding up pregnant? That is what we still have yet to understand in a lot of these situations. That is what I'm very curious about. And as much as people complain about how things are getting regulated, sometimes people really don't understand how good they have it because there's still a lot of other things that has yet to be holding people accountable to. There's still a lot of exploitation going on that they really still haven't addressed, that people still can get away with. And so you don't have it as bad as you think. But then when you start coming and complaining about this, what you're doing is you're opening yourself up to them to say, oh, you're still not grateful? Okay. Well, let's do this. Because anytime you try to hold somebody else accountable, you have to be ready for the fact that they can't come back with something to then put it back on you and hold you accountable. Because if you're going to try to come and say, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why are you making it harder on us? Well, then that opens up the door for me to say, why are you doing this? Why are you having kids? Why are you making it harder on you? As well as us, taxpayers being us. People are never ready for that comeback to where they got to have some accountability and responsibility and ultimately some visibility because we want you to be transparent and we want you to explain because it really doesn't make sense. But you weren't ready for that because you don't ever really think about and reflect about what you do because you think that something else owes you something. You never go back in and do the internal work. And that's why we keep having the same repetitive problem over and over again. It's no one else's fault. A lot of these things where people are on these programs, if we're really honest, it really comes down to decisions that people are making. But people want to be held to the standard of being an adult, but they don't want to take accountability for their decisions. They don't even want to be addressed about their decisions. They don't even want to be asked about their decisions. They don't even want you to inquire on it. They don't want to be questioned. No, I have questions. And be grateful that the government still doesn't have questions because there's still a lot of things that can be exploited. People talking about the junk food ban, this, that, and the third. Oh, understand, you still have it very good. They still didn't the other woman say she wanted to have a seafood boil? What type of seafood you think she was about to get with that free money? What, you thought it was just going to be some crawfish? Oh, no, there was definitely going to be some crab in there. I wouldn't be surprised if she put some scallops in that mug. Be glad they don't address that. Talking about some junk food and some Snicker bars. But we'll leave it there for today. Y'all, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. It only takes a second, and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype the video, hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically, when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button and it shows the points. And since I'm a smaller creator, a smaller channel, we actually get more points per hype. And hype was designed for smaller channels. So that's why. But if you come across a video and you don't see the hype button, then it's probably been over 7 days. And hype usually vanishes after 7 days. So that's why. So it's usually best practice if you want to hype to just go ahead and hype while the iron is hot on a newer video. And also, if you want to become a member of the channel, join buttons on the video. And what becoming a member of the DXU family would come with is you would get badges next to your comments to where people would see you're a member whenever you leave a comment, as well as you would get early access to content and exclusive content that is not available to everyone else on YouTube. So again, if you want to become a member, join buttons on the video. But until then, I'll catch you in the next video.